Aisha is a troubled girl who is having a hard time coping with life in high school. She usually has therapy sessions with her therapist, Sharon, but Aisha behaves erratically for the most part. Aisha is also vulnerable to high-pitched noise. Sometimes, she gets the feeling that she isn't a human at all. Aisha makes the most of her day by hanging out with her best friend, Carrie, and her boyfriend, Levy. She ends the night by spending time with her beloved and caring father, Martin. The world is surrounded by several service robots that are manufactured by a massive tech company, Rylium. The service bots are almost like humans, and they can interact with them. One night, Carrie suggests that she and Aisha should head out to a party at a classmate's house. Aisha goes to pick up Levy, but much to her dismay, she finds Levy doing something shameful with one of the female service bots. Aisha doesn't want to be with Levy anymore, and in order to get even, she decides to get romantic with her classmate who has thrown out the party. Levy arrives and he tries to justify his actions, but Aisha doesn't want to do anything with him anymore. Aisha carries out the rest of her night by getting drunk to the point where she gets injured badly by slipping and cutting herself with the broken alcohol bottle. Even though she is in pain, Aisha is baffled to see that her flesh wound is deep enough to show that she has some sort of electronic device inside her flesh. Aisha is unable to process why she has some sort of system inside of her. She faints and wakes up the next morning in her bed, confused and terrified. She avoids any sort of communication with her father and Carrie, who questions Aisha about where did she leave her at the party last night. Aisha heads to the bathroom of her high school, take a deep look into what is inside her arm. She finds out that it is a complete system and has a specific code on it. She notes down the code, and before she could further assess her body, her classmate and past friend, Jenny, arrives and asks if she's okay. Aisha avoids talking to her too. Aisha takes one of the male service bots aside and asks it about the system inside her arm. The male service bot says that it is actually a haptic tensor system for multilinear subspace learning. Aisha has no clue what that is, and she asks the service bot if it has the same technology inside it. The service bot refuses to give out any confidential information. Aisha goes to Sharon and has a severe panic attack about what she has recently found out about herself. Before she could pass out again, Sharon calms her down and tells her to relax. Sharon uses her therapeutic activity to put Aisha to sleep. Just when she falls into a deep sleep, Sharon takes control of Aisha's body by uttering a few commands, confirming that Aisha is indeed a robot. Sharon decides to wipe out Aisha's yesterday's memory so that she cannot know that she is a robot. Sharon calls Martin and informs him that Aisha had almost found out that she is a robot, and this is something that has happened in the past multiple times. Aisha wakes up the next day, thinking all of it was just a nightmare, and is relieved that everything's normal. Aisha still has no idea what she really is. Aisha goes to her high school and meets with Carrie. When she asks her for a favor, Carrie admonishes her for not responding to her properly after the incident at the party. As her memory of the last few days has been wiped out, Aisha has no idea what Carrie is talking about. Aisha remains confused the entire day, and when the male service bot asks her if she wants to resume her session, Aisha doesn't remember if she had talked to it in the past couple of days. As the service bot now knows that Aisha is a robot herself, it restores the erased data of Aisha. Knowing who she really is, and how Sharon and Martin have hidden things from her, Aisha freaks out and begins to question everything. Meanwhile, Rylium's owner Noah is about to showcase a revolutionary invention of his. Aisha asks Levy for the cheat codes he used on the female service bot. Aisha is still upset about how Levy used that service bot for his own gain. Aisha uses cheat codes to unlock any of her hidden features. Aisha is fascinated to see that she has many abilities, which include hearing someone from a far distance and manipulating other electronic devices. Noah is informed about how a student tried to manipulate a female service bot back at Aisha's high school. Noah is aware that shareholders can't find out about this, so he sends his brother, Abel, to get rid of that female service bot, which Levy manipulated. Abel is handed a gun that could stun and fry the processor of the service bots. Aisha, who has unlocked some of her abilities as a robot, begins to have fun. The fun ends when she gets flashbacks of a little child, which disturbs her to the point where she falls and passes out. Martin arrives and takes Aisha back home. Aisha, who is now aware that she is a robot, behaves differently in front of her father. Martin also feels that something might be off. After dropping off Aisha home, she uses her audio enhancement capability to hear Martin's call with Sharon. Aisha now knows that Martin and Sharon were together in this, and made Aisha feel this way all along. Aisha looks for records of her being a robot in her father's office, and Martin goes to meet Sharon. Martin believes that Aisha is starting to find out the reality. Sharon believes that Aisha might be hacking into her own system. In order to stop Martin from freaking out and asking more questions, Sharon begins to get romantic with Martin, who stops immediately after some time. Aisha finds a system in her father's office that shows that every single movement, thought, and action of Aisha is being recorded. Whatever Aisha sees and does is also recorded. Aisha takes a look at the past footage, especially when Martin met Aisha. Martin met Aisha 4 years ago. Sharon used to work for Rylium, and she was the one who created Aisha. Martin develops an instant connection with Aisha, and he wasn't aware that Aisha was a robot at first. Martin then met Sharon, and both of them fell in love with each other. After spending some time together, Martin reveals to Sharon that he used to have a lovely daughter who died from salmonella. Ever since her passing, Martin has failed to cope with life. Aisha has reminded Martin of her late daughter. Martin moves in with Sharon and begins to bond with her, and especially Aisha. One day, when Martin takes Aisha out for a coffee, Sharon gets alerted about Aisha's low battery. Aisha calls Martin and tells him to bring Aisha back home immediately. Martin, who is still unaware that Aisha is a robot, doesn't know why Sharon is freaking out. Things get worse when Aisha begins to suffer from seizures. Sharon reaches them and takes them home. Martin is heartbroken to learn that Aisha is actually a robot. Sharon tells Martin that he can't tell anyone about Aisha. A distressed Martin decides to move out for good. A few months later, Sharon informs Martin that Aisha misses him a lot, and he should consider giving them another chance. Martin, who now has an affection for both Aisha and Sharon, decides to take Sharon and Aisha in. Sharon then created her own therapy center, and Aisha has been living with Martin ever since. Martin has always treated Aisha like a real daughter. Back in the present time, Aisha is deeply hurt that Martin lied to her. She demands Martin to tell the truth from now on. Martin professes his love for his daughter and admits that Aisha used to be a part of a Rylium project, which was overseen by Sharon. Aisha meets Sharon and she rebukes her for lying to her and controlling her life. Aisha blames Sharon for making her feel sad for most of her life. Aisha orders Sharon to remove any monitoring device or method she has implemented on her. Otherwise, she would tell the whole world that she is a robot that was let out in this world illegally. Sharon has no option but to agree to Aisha's demands. Aisha goes rogue after that and begins to behave rudely with everyone, especially Jenny. Many years ago, when Sharon created Aisha, she represented it to both Noah and Abel. Aisha was supposed to be the first service bot that would be indistinguishable from the rest. The purpose of an artificial intelligence like this was to not let anyone, including Aisha herself, know that she was a robot. Upon asking what could be the purpose of a robot like this, Sharon claims that a robot that appears like a human could be invaluable in a war zone and for elderly people in lonely times. Noah says that robots like Aisha would render humanity fungible. Abel says that undetectable artificial intelligence is illegal. Both of them agree that Sharon's creation is something that shouldn't have been done in the first place. Abel arrives at Aisha's high school and destroys the female service which Levi messed with. After witnessing this and fearing for herself, Aisha tries to run away. Jenny finds her and informs Aisha that she still has an old school radio frequency tracker in her foot. Abel finds out about Aisha from the mail service bot and how Sharon set her free. Jenny tells Aisha that she probably came from Rylium and how they used to be longtime friends. Aisha decides to leave for good to live her own life, leaving her father behind. She goes out with Jenny and Levi, who are given a second chance at redemption by her. During their journey, Aisha has a breakdown on how she wants to tell Rylium that she can live like a normal person. Abel meets Sharon and Martin and questions Sharon's actions and why she let out Aisha. Jenny uses different codes and methods to restore all of Aisha's past data. After recovering lost data, Aisha remembers that she used to be in a relationship with Jenny and how she fell in love with her. After Martin found out about this, he asked Sharon to remove her memories as Aisha wasn't ready for relationships just yet. Aisha also remembers that back in Rylium, she used to have a robot brother Kalian, who she loved endlessly. The memories begin to have a toll on Aisha, who runs away from Jenny and Levi. Jenny tells Levi about everything, and when they find Aisha, they vow to go back to Rylium and reunite Aisha with Kalian. Soon, Abel arrives and kidnaps Aisha when Jenny and Levi weren't around. Aisha learns that she would be discontinued soon, but requests Abel to let her meet Kalian. Abel, mercifully, allows her to do so. Even though they feel Aisha's affection for Kalian, Noah and Abel know that they can't live forever. Aisha meets her father and Sharon, and she pleads to Noah to let her continue her life. Noah is against this idea, but when Aisha tries to run away, she begins to malfunction due to the virus Abel installed in her during their ride to Rylium a few hours ago. Both Kalian and Aisha are shredded, leaving Jenny and Martin heartbroken. Before Aisha's passing, she uttered a few cryptic words which Jenny thinks is a way to bring back Aisha. Upon meeting the mail service bot in high school, Jenny uses those words to restore Aisha and bring her back to the body of that mail service bot. Martin is left in tears when he finds out that Aisha has returned to this world. Aisha promises to meet Martin again once she finds the right person to build her the same body she used to be in.